How good is the Pentax 17 half-frame film camera? After 744 images on 11 rolls of film, 9 film stocks shot over 3 weeks, it was time to send the review unit back, and I bought one. Pentax Forums staff writer Chris Fiola here with a deep dive review into the brand new Pentax 17 film camera. This is the camera I bought. The review unit has already gone back. Ricoh Imaging Americas was kind enough to send us a review unit, and after putting that much film through it, it's just a great camera. So I'm sort of too long, didn't read. I'm skipping to the end here. That's how good this is. I bought one. It's really a mechanical marvel. It's well built. The shutter advance is just the sound it makes. It's that little purr. You'll shoot images just so you can advance the film. I have it in a half-frame case here that I bought because I don't like cameras I shove in my pocket to get scratched up. A lot of the early reviews said that this felt plasticky and toy-like. I can only say that those folks should stop shooting half-century-old Canon Fs and Pentax 6.7s. This is heavier than a 90s era Pentax compact film camera like the Espio. It's a little lighter, but not much, than my first Pentax camera I used, the Pentax ME, or the first one I bought, the Pentax ME Super, which I still have. It's a solid piece of kit. It's well made. Everything on it works, snaps. It's just really, really solid. No problems at all. No complaints at all with the construction on this camera. The dials are very well laid out, very thoughtful, very simple, easy to use. After shooting that much film, what I found with at least my type of photography is that I keep it set to underexpose by 1/3 of a stop, and I've had tremendous luck with every sort of film after that. One of the well-designed features on this is the viewfinder. It has a big, bright viewfinder with a couple of indicators in it, 2 lights, one that tells you if your film is advanced or not, the other tells you if your flash is ready, or if you've got the lens cap on. So it's not an SLR, so you can still see through the viewfinder even if you have the lens cap on, so the indicator light is helpful. I had it flash a few times. I've even ignored it a couple of times, to my chagrin. That said, the viewfinder also has the zone focusing icons in it. Now, I've heard some complaints about the fact that it's icons instead of numbers, but I find that this is one of those things where you review a camera that you've had for 10 minutes. Once you've had the camera for a little bit, the icons are actually easier to see and clearer than trying to read 0.8 feet through the viewfinder. Also, on a related note to that, I blew a bunch of shots in one of the early rolls because I was trying to guesstimate and handhold macro shots, and apparently I'm really, really bad at guesstimating how far 0.8 foot is. So don't do that. or do it the way you should do macro anyway, with a tripod and a measured distance there. That makes sense. I like the icons. I like seeing the icons in the viewfinder. Above all, it is a clean, bright viewfinder with bright viewfinder lines. It's simple to use and easy to use, and because of that, you can just shoot. And that's the thing about the Pentax 17 in the end. You hook your finger, your thumb underneath the film advance, you push the shutter, snap your finger to the right, and you are ready to go. It is a camera that allows you to simply focus on the photography rather than dealing with the mechanics of getting it to work. Next, let's take a look at image quality. And it's really amazing how good this lens is on the camera. The real star of this camera, this is a great camera. The construction is wonderful. The film winding mechanism is frankly addictive, but the star of the show here, as it should be, is the lens. The lens here is taken from the optical design of that 90s compact film camera, the SBO, the Pentax SBO. It's a 3 elements in 3 separate groups, air gapped, but it has the modern HD coatings that you would get on, say, a Pentax limited lens. And the image quality that this thing produces is simply stupendous. This camera produces images as good as individual Pentax lenses that sell for more than the camera does by itself. Let's take a look at some Ektachrome photos here that show you what this camera can do, loaded with the correct film, fed plenty of light, and set to 1/3 of a stop under exposure. Most of all, I want to let the Pentax 17 speak for itself. Here is a collection of images. We'll show you what each of these film stocks were. We have HP5, Ilford black and white film. We have Kodak Tri-X. Some of these films, and I'll make a note as you watch them, were from the very early rolls when I was exposing them at the box speed. So I exposed the HP5 at 400. After about 4 rolls in, I switched for the last 7 rolls to shooting everything at 1/3 of a stop underexposed. And that really meshes up. Now, that's not just the camera, that's also the way that I shoot. I tend to shoot handheld, I tend to shoot photojournalism style, and so the way that I work and the way I work with light, and that's what works best for me on this camera. I also have to tell you that I was really amazed by 2 things that you'll see here. One is everything you see here is handheld. And there are shots here that you'll see where I'm shooting with ISO 100 film in effectively pitch dark, the last glow of twilight. And it's very good. The other thing is we used to have a thing that we did as photojournalists that we called available flash. That is, we would expose for available light and then use a small, very small flash to just light up the image subject and freeze them. And I'd used some of that technique with the built-in flash on the 17, and the results to me were just amazing. You'll see an image here in the Panther Air film section where it's pretty much pitch dark, and it's an image of a locomotive lit, handheld, with this tiny little flash. Now, you wouldn't think that this little flash could light a locomotive. Take a look at these images, see what you think. In my office, there is a glass-doored cabinet with all the Pentexes I used professionally for decades. There's the LX that still has a dent in a corner from when I fell chasing a Japanese Elvis down a street in Tokyo. There's the other LX, which still has an old lens mounted on it and a motherboard that is flaky at best. There's an MX, an Auto 110 Super. There is an ME Super. There's a Pentax 6.7. There's all the dozens and dozens of lenses that I've used over the years professionally and made a living with across all of Asia and North America. And so, which one of them do I carry for color work? Well, I carry my new one, the Pentax 17. It's brand new, it just works. It's not, I don't spend more time fixing it than I do shooting with it. It's just that good. It's just that good. And the image quality, which in the end of all things photographic, image quality is everything. It's either there or it isn't. And this is good enough to take a place in that cabinet with all of that great Pentax gear that I've been collecting for half a century and using to make a living as a professional photojournalist. How good is the Pentax 17? It's so good I bought one and added it to that collection. And now I shoot it every day with my Pentax Mark III, K3 Mark III monochrome, which I use for black and white work. Pentax 17 is loaded at the same time with Ektachrome, and it's my everyday carry color camera. I hope you can find one. I hope you can enjoy it as much as I do. This is a great camera. I'm Chris Viola from Pentax Forum. Have a great Pentaxian day.